This is Michaela McLean, and you're listening to Beauty by Design. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for being here. It's time to talk about our next gate. I just want to let you know I have reopened one-on-one sessions, new offering, auric beauty therapy, which is more of a free-flowing hybrid, of design, gene keys, astrology, distance energy work, working with sound healing and crystals, and doing my energetic RX that I always used to do for people. So giving you basically a air quotes prescription afterward, homework, podcast episodes to listen to help further your understanding, and then specific tools, oils, crystals, practices that I recommend for you based on what's going on in your chart, what's going on in your life, what we're working with. It's really cool. It's like I just dreamt that up. Have this very thorough intake form to really like zero in exactly on what's going on. So super fun. And then I do have the one-on-one for aesthetic professionals open at this time as well. So I'm doing this through the end of the year. We'll see. But basically, spots are very limited. The time is limited. Again, I have other things that I'm working on, but I just got so many requests for one-on-ones that I was like, let me go ahead and reopen it for now. Um, yeah, so that's where we're at. And of course, like the general public, if you want to book a one-on-one human design as well. So the only thing that's a prerequisite for working with me is just having done your $11 or a type masterclass, simply because that's an entire hour of info I want you to know and digest and sit with before, we do things, even if it's like a day or two before. It's just, I used to try to put so much into one session, and now I'm like, let's get the basics out of the way. Let's get you understanding that first. So that is all live. The links will be in show notes and in my Instagram bio. I do highly suggest jumping on it while it's available, because I don't know how long that is going to be for. I got other tricks up my sleeve, but for now, that's what we're working with. And of course, grab the free guide if you don't have that already. That takes you to the correct $11 class. And then that way you're prepped. If you do want to nab a spot with me, you can do that. And yeah, so Little Fox, I think last time I said, oh, we're about to release something, but brand new, beautiful box called Green. And it is so gorgeous. It's 2 new bath soaks. This is all like limited edition, 2 new bath soaks, a facial mask, and then a nectar, a massage nectar. And everything is based around the color green, my favorite color. I did a brand new yoga nidra and energetic beauty sleep for this box to take you on a beauty journey. And it is so cool. Alexis, aka Madam Little Fox, she was like, "This is my favorite one that you've done so far ever." The whole thing is based on like the ancient Roman baths and going, on this just incredible, basically, like I said, beauty journey, this process through this whole story. So cool. So if that interests you, if you are not just I'm like a professional bather, Little Fox's bathing culture, 1000%. Everything in the aromatic beauty sphere is just, it's enveloping. It's an immersive experience, which is so cool. If you're somebody like me, I'm always like, my Chiron and Taurus, like this is my medicine. Truly everything in that line. So yeah, everything is about the whole sensory experience, which is where like the nidra comes in, so that you're not just um, oh, I'm putting on my products. It's like, no, I'm having a head to toe, inside and out, conscious, unconscious beauty experience. I cannot recommend it enough. Anyway, of course, all that's linked as well. So go check that out. And yeah, we'll just move on. Let's get on to the episode. My little disclaimer, as always, don't try to understand this at the mental level. Just let the sound current, the energy, the frequency of beauty sink deep into your cells like good skincare. Okay, so we're still in Scorpio season and we're moving into gate 43, which is located in the ajna, and it's part of the individual knowing circuitry. People with individual circuitry have a deep inner knowing that they are here to be true to themselves, and that leads to mutation, evolution, positive change in the world. And the keynote with this one is empowerment. With any individual circuitry, it's empowerment. The center itself, the ajna, is our mental awareness center. It interprets inspiration and information and then forms it into actual thoughts and opinions. And of course, it's being the ajna being one of the awareness centers, mental awareness specifically. All three of the awareness centers, they carry a fear element, fear and anxiety, basically when the energy is not being used correctly or there's no awareness around it. The ajna has, like I said, that mental anxiety associated with it in its low expression. So 43 is known as breakthrough, the gate of insight, and it carries a fear of rejection. All of the awareness centers, as I mentioned, they have that fear of something attached to them. And then of course the gates are going to tell you a bit more about what are they so afraid of, again. So the ajna, like, and then in this case in the 43, it's fear of being rejected. Having unique perspectives, mental anxiety that your ideas are too weird and will be rejected, the need to make sense to others. Gate 43 is genius energy that is ahead of its time, just simply put. But the low expression here is like I said, fear of being rejected because you're a weirdo, rejected because you're different. And having not just having your ideas rejected, but you are being rejected, right? Making it personal. All individual circuitry, all of it carries this feeling of being an outcast or an outsider and fears the ramifications of rejection that come with not being part of the tribe, the collective, that group feeling. Try individuals, they can not be accepted into the group on some level, and it is hard to be different. It's true, it's hard to be different. Ra Uruhu, the founder of human design, he called the individuals the air quotes freaks. Now I will say this, I don't take offense to that. I'm a pure individual, he was a pure individual. It's just like, it's part of it. And if you are one, and I say that frequently when I'm talking about individual surgery. Sorry, we're going off on a tangent real quick. What I mean by that is that you can have individual gates, you can have individual channels, but when you are a pure individual, it means like how you get your definition 100% is only individual channels. Okay, so you could be purely tribal, you could be purely collective, purely abstract collective, purely, logic collective. You want to look, and of course I go through these all in the gates and stuff throughout the episodes. Like you would be able to suss it out. But if you are like that, I feel like people who are pure individuals are going to understand what you're talking about. Just like a pure tribal person is not going to quite grasp what, they're more like, oh, okay, I'm about the group. And it, like, that personal individual thing isn't so important. It's more important to be included, or the collective. I got to do what's best for everybody. The individual is like, I have to be me. Like, I can't just mold myself to fit in. Of course, there's more detail than that when you're looking at specific charts, but I just am going off on one right now. Anyway, back to business, right? So like I said, I don't know. So if you're hearing this and I said the freaks and you are a pure individual, it's like, do you take offense to that? Because I don't. I'm like, I get it. I get it. I understand what he means by that. Okay, back to business. More on that low expression of 43, not waiting for an invitation and the right time, the people, the place, the setting to share your insights and therefore not being received, the thing that you're afraid of. Not being able to hear your own inner voice, your own inner wisdom, insights, letting the outside noise and interference in, shutting down your own intuitive gifts and throwing in the towel out of, on your knowing, basically out of fear. Shutting down your own intuitive gifts and throwing in the towel on your knowing out of fear. The high expression, no, this is truly a unique and insightful mind that is here to receive the new, a visionary. If you have it, you need to understand that you are a messenger of progressive breakthroughs. Get comfortable and cultivate your deep trust in your claircognizance, which that means your clear knowing. It doesn't have to be backed up by facts, just something you know in your bones to be true. It's spontaneous, again, individual circuitry. It pulses on and off. It's like a sudden shower thought or download. Like that wasn't, like, oh, it hit me. Wasn't here 2 seconds ago. And now, boom, here it is. Waiting for the right opportunity, where and when you are invited to share makes all the difference in how you are received. This type of thinking can catapult others into quantum leaps, basically completely up level things in an instant for them. So, again, I said claircognizance, but this is also clairvoyance, inner vision, dreams, clear visions. And it's just, again, how, if you're a 43 person, recognizing how you receive your insights. So the Gene Key states we tend to move through long periods in which it appears that very little about us alters, and then suddenly, every now and again, an experience or event occurs which utterly changes our lives. These transformational events can never be predicted in life, neither can the effects they have on us. As the ancient texts have always attested, the only certainty in life is change. At the shadow level of awareness, change is all you really want, but true change is denied you. It is because you want to change that you cannot change. The 43rd shadow of deafness is what prevents you from hearing the simplest of truth. In this sense, deafness is the inability to hear what is going on inside you. Because the shadow frequency is a field of fear created by human beings, you cannot hear the truth inside you due to the white noise generated by the subacoustic aura of humanity. The 43rd gene key is about acoustics and inner listening. The gift of insight requires a calm inner environment, and yet the lower frequencies are so deafening that it is rare to find a human being with a clear, still aura. One clear insight from a higher frequency can completely change your life because true insight is a mutation within the structure of your DNA. The fear that governs the shadow frequency specifically attaches itself to the way your body feels. This sets up a great dilemma inside you because it makes you search for happiness. What we humans call happiness is simply one aspect of our natural chemistry. Sometimes you experience it and sometimes you don't. A great deal of the time, we do not feel happy because we spend so much of our time trying to create happiness in the future. Modern society is locked into trying to create external security. We assume that happiness comes with financial or marital security, whereas in fact, it is not dependent on anything external. The true purpose of the 43rd shadow at a collective genetic level is to create a more efficient society so that we can arrive at the breakthrough that nothing external can buy us happiness. Modern society is built upon the individual's desperation to escape the way we feel. In truth, we are not really deaf at all. We are simply too busy worrying to hear, or we are too busy knowing what we are doing to listen. Our dilemma is that we try to escape the loop of not feeling fulfilled, and in doing so, we in fact ensure that we stay in that loop. Everything you do to try to reach fulfillment has the effect of making your life more complicated. That he's talking about the partner, the 23rd gate there. And he goes on to say that breakthrough occurs when you begin to face the fact that you simply don't feel comfortable in the world. No individual can really feel comfortable in society because where society tends to be consistent and relatively stable, the individual is neither of these things. Again, he's referencing individual circuitry there. To precipitate this great breakthrough in awareness, you have to look honestly into one of your deepest fears, the fear of being rejected by society. Inside every individual is a pulsing, rebellious spirit, and it is the spirit that finally begins to awaken when you realize how deafened you have been by that which society, culture, and even history expects of you. And of the shadow side, it's, we have two sides of it always, the repressive and the reactive side. And it's either you're worried, or they're super noisy. It's too much going on. So he goes on to say every human being is born to be a rebel in the sense of filling a space in the world that cannot be duplicated by another. The wonder of the human being is this unpredictable, spontaneous, liquid genius. As individuals, when we awaken to our true creative potential, that which is hidden in our DNA begins to rise up and pull us out of the survival frequency. At the gift level of frequency, the very handicap of the lower frequency, deafness, actually becomes a great ally. Instead of not listening to yourself, you now stop listening to the status quo. This is the first law of the rebel, to trust in your inner voice no matter what the consequences. This is the true meaning of the gift of insight. The rebel awakening through the 43rd gift is immensely creative. He or she simply cuts a new pathway without worrying about where it is going. This is the deafness of genius, to forget the future altogether and simply be the conduit for creative insight. You cannot afford to trust any external source that claims wisdom or knowledge. It is not that you stop listening to such things, but that you stop being influenced by them. In Japanese culture, one of the key words for insight is satori, which implies a sudden breakthrough from within. No teacher or system can lead you to the experience of satori, but these moments occur more frequently as you relax more deeply into your inner nature. As they become more frequent, a certain deep spirit of trust begins to pervade and suffuse your being, as though life's mystery were awakening directly inside you. You begin to realize that although you cannot create these breakthroughs, you can expand the environment in which they seem to occur. The environment is one of deep relaxedness and solitude. Such solitude does not mean you have to withdraw from the world, but that you use the same deafness from the shadow to filter out all but the essential and beautiful from your life. Okay, so my notes here. This is part of a projected channel. Projector rules apply, seen, recognized, invited for your insight. Bite your tongue until it's time to speak and you're given the floor to explain your far out, futuristic, mutative knowing. And I say explain there because, again, that's a very important piece of individual circuitry. Individuals are tasked with being able to explain themselves because all individual circuitry is about knowing, but you don't know how you know. That's what I said about the pulse. It's on, it's off. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? And how do I know these things? Claircognizance is just clear knowing. Okay. So if you're an individual and you're like, wow, I have these insane, visions about like how this works or how that would be better or, something about the future, you have to be able to learn how to explain yourself. But you gotta be asked for it. All right. So this is also one of the three gates of deafness, or what I like to call energetic earplugs. These gates are designed to not hear others. Remember, again, this is individual. It's meant for mutation, not meant to be influenced or contaminated by others' thoughts and opinions. It's only meant to listen to its own inner voice of knowing. And it's not about thinking, it's about knowing. Okay, but the thing to keep in mind, right? Ajna, the mind, that is an outer authority for other people. The mind is never, no matter what type and authority you have, it's never meant to be the thing that's making your decisions for you. Outer authority is really about using your mind to help other people. And in this case, when invited, it's not about solving your own problems. The fact that it carries that fear of rejection too, I want to note, I love the phrase rejection is protection. And that applies to everyone, but especially here with this gate. It's like if people aren't picking up what you're putting down, it's because it's not meant for them. And you're, like there's a disconnect there. So rather than being fearful of it, be like, wow, okay, nature is kind of like tuning those people out of my frequency. They're not meant to be influencing or infecting my mind. And, like let me find a receptive audience that is interested. I don't need that around me. Again, individual circuitry, right? Always going to be highly acoustic, very attuned to sound, vibration, music, all of that. And this one it's basically the inner voice, the muse, the inner ear, again, so strong with the hearing. And it's definitely connected to like what we think of as the third eye. It really is like that location if you look at it on the body graph. And again, timing being such an important piece. Again, I'm going to say that with individual circuitry, again, this being projected, it's like waiting for the right time to share what you know. Okay. Because again, individual, that knowing pulse is on and off. And you just have to be, you just have to be hanging, making yourself, I always say this for projectors, make yourself visible and available. Like, hey, I know things. I don't need to tell you I know things, but people see you as knowing stuff. And then they're going to want to ask for your insight. Okay, so this is also one of the unique places in the chart where the programming partner and the channel partner are one and the same, which is so nice and convenient. So if you're born with your sun, if you're a Scorpio sun, gate 43, or vice versa, you're a Taurus sun in gate 23, or this is your north or your south node, you automatically have this pairing. You automatically get the full channel. You can have it, of course, through other activations. All kinds of things can give you this channel, this definition, but those two things would make it automatic. Okay, so the programming partner meaning, right? I already said that. Sun's in 43 in Scorpio. Earth is automatically going to be opposite in Taurus gate 23. And 23 is known as splitting apart. It's the gate of assimilation. This is the gate that gives voice to deep inner knowing. It's communicating individual insights. And the keynote with this one is I know or not, communicating those individual insights. The low expression, not gauging your audience and or not waiting for the right time to speak what you know in your bones. We were just discussing that. Speaking unintelligently or not translating what you know into a coherent, cohesive, and concise, communicable thought form. Okay, this is also one where people can over communicate, overshare. They gotta be too wordy. It's a big old vocabulary. They're trying to sound intelligent. They're trying to cram too much into their communications and just honestly confusing people. Like I said, talking too much, overcomplicating everything, or talking about things they don't really know about and don't really understand, or not saying anything at all, being afraid to use their voice. That classic, I hate this, but it's like, oh, your throat chakra's blocked, that kind of like diagnosis. But the high expression here, clear, concise, efficient communication of even the most far out concepts. It's all about clarity and cutting the fluff. It's being super easy to understand. They explain it to me like I'm five stuff. And you think of the acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid. This is the pure distillation communicating the refined, essential essence of the message that you are trying to transmit. Basically, it's like being a minimalist in your articulation, you know, carefully choosing the correct words enables the powerful expression of that individual insight. It's basically trying to do 43 justice. 43 is like, whoa, I see some things. And 23 is like, okay, I got to make this really easy for people to grasp, to understand. So I just have to say, like I know some people with 23, some people do it beautifully. They cut through the noise and they can it's like editing, taking everything away that's not necessary. And then I know some people who, oh my goodness, everything is a novel. I have to fit in 12 big words, like into every single sentence. And then everybody's left scratching their head, like, well, what exactly did they mean by that? You did not get your point across. You have merely confused people rather than given them what they need to understand. If you want them to understand it, keep it clean. Okay. Basically, here, when you wait for the right timing and can explain yourself in this manner, it is incredibly impactful. And it's capable of inspiring major change and evolution in others. Individual circuitry, again, it's here to stay true to itself and let others come around to its way of thinking. But my goodness, like I said, individuals have to know how to explain themselves. So if you're doing too much, if you're saying too much, you are not using that 23 correctly. I like to call 23 the divine translator in the tarot Taurus, right? This is a Taurus gate. Taurus's card is the Hierophant. It's the divine translator. I just think that correlation is so interesting. Wow, I'm getting these huge concepts if they are the conduit to the divine, right? And you really think about that 43 up top. And this 23 is like, wow, I have to translate this so that, again, I could say this to a 5-year-old and they're going to understand me. I'm not trying to convolute the whole thing and then have, like I said, have everybody just like, what did they mean by that? I don't know. The Gene Keys, it calls this one the alchemy of simplicity. Love that. Just put it in a nutshell, right? Okay, so as I already mentioned, the gate that completes this channel, right, with 43 is 23, which we were just speaking about. These two come together, they form the channel of structuring. This is also known as a design of individuality. So here we have 43, the clairvoyant, futuristic insight of the ajna coming down to be converted into speech, expressed very simply by the throat center by that 23. When the two come together to form the channel of structuring, it's giving a voice to the deep inner knowing, to those mental pictures, images, vision, dreams, acoustic sounds, whatever you're getting, you're receiving. 23 is interpreting it, which can help empower others to make these quantum leaps forward in their understanding as well. This is potentially mind-blowing stuff. This is such a cool channel. This energy can morph the way others see things. The full channel is actually called From Genius to Freak. Remember we talked about the freaks a little while ago? It's super amazing. But again, the reminder that it's projected, waiting for the invitation, waiting for the right timing, being invited to share your inner knowing, waiting for the right people to receive these insights. It's imperative to successfully getting your thoughts across. Otherwise, you can be seen as that weirdo, right? The freak on the street corner shouting, uh, playing into that fear of rejection versus being seen for the true genius that you really are. Basically, it's like, know what you know, bite your tongue until you know what I mean? You got the right audience, it's the right time, and you are being asked for it. One thing to remember, even if this was the only channel in your chart, which would make you a mental projector, okay? Your mind, again, I already mentioned this, but your mind still is not meant to be making decisions for you. It is that outer authority to benefit others, right? You're just waiting to be recognized for it. Also, you want to pay attention specifically, always, right? But specifically here to the colors of the gates and the whole channel. If it's all red or parts of it are red, this is like where you may not be very aware of what you are thinking and saying. Really work on what I keep drilling home about learning to explain yourself and your way of thinking. So again, just to stress for all individual circuitry, but especially this channel, they just really, really, really have to work on translating and explaining themselves. Because basically this inner knowing is only backed up by your own inner knowing. It's not logical, it's not experiential. It's simply just, I don't know how I know this, but I know it. And I know it to be true, right? Work on that. Now, if you have the 43 only without the 23, you can be a bit lost on how to translate, communicate what you know. So again, really sitting with that and, working through it. But what I will say is that these people don't think or believe, as I mentioned, it's not logical. It's not like, oh yeah. It's just they know. They know. And that's so rad. Again, I'm a pure individual, so I get it. I'm like, yep, when we know what we know it. And that's it. Like I said, individuals, of course, we are outsiders. Outsiders, I've mentioned this before, but they are seen as threats to the tribe and to the collective. Even if you don't know that, that's what that energy carries, because they bring change and change for everybody else, especially like the tribe who's like they have their own agenda, the collective has its own agenda. They don't like it. They want things to go on the way it's been going. And the individual's like, I am here to mutate people. And this channel again, in particular, it helps others understand that there is another, let's say, new and improved way of thinking. Ooh, like you can understand how that would maybe upset the status quo for sure, for sure. So astrologically, here we've got Taurus and Scorpio, earth and water opposition. Again, if this is your sun or your north node, earth, south node, you automatically are getting the full channel because you're getting that opposition just built right into your chart. I like to think that this channel partnership really illustrates that cool polarity of the sister signs of Scorpio and Taurus together. You know, Scorpio is this magic, etheric, otherworldly energy being brought down to earth, like channeled down to earth, grounded in reality through Taurus, communicating it in a simple, easy to understand way into language that's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and it's only what is quintessential. That's the key word for 23 in the gene keys, quintessential. Okay, this is happening in the fourth quarter of the wheel, purpose fulfilled through transformation. It's a transformative way of thinking. Okay, this gate leading the way, basically bringing in the new and chilling until others are ready to be mutated by that energy. And it's cool too because 23, it happens in the second quarter of the wheel, which is in purpose filled through form. So we're taking spirit up here in the 43 and then translating it into, it's coming out the throat. Throat is the place where things come to interact with the world. And that is turning it into something real and tangible potentially. Okay, I don't have this gate. I don't have its partner, no part of this channel, but I love, love, love to see this energy in a chart. I'm always inspired by it. I love that minimalistic quality, like what can you take away? How can you simplify? Like the absolute just a ruthless editor, but it's so that it can be it's basically so there's no mistaking. Like I'm making this so clear exactly what I'm trying to communicate. And I love that, right? Just again, cutting the fluff. Yeah. So I think with this one, it's like really wise, get some alone time to think, some silence, just being able to clear out, right? Put those energetic earplugs in and tune out the noise of everyone else and just really kind of like marinating in what's correct for you, letting those insights come through when they come through. So, do you have this gate in your chart? We're looking up at the ajna, the mind area. It's going to be at the bottom of the triangle, the 43, coming down to connect with the 23 in the throat. So, if you have 43 defined, it's going to be black, red, or red and black. If it's white, you don't have it defined, but look at that 23. See if maybe you have the channel partner, you have that ability to translate. Maybe you're like me, again, don't have any of it. Cool. We're just observing it. We're enjoying it. We're going to be mutated by it, whether that's through the transits or other people in our lives. And like always check the charts of the people that you know and see who you interacting with. Where is this at? I don't know, it's cool. It's cool when you can observe it in other people and you see these energies come to life. I will be back soon with more. If this episode was of value to you, I would love it if you would leave a 5-star rating and review to help more people discover this information. Leave that review on Apple. That would be amazing. Yeah. And then of course, if you want to learn more, sessions are open, free guide, $11 classes, so on and so forth. I have more classes that are coming. I'm working on some things that I'm excited about, but we're approaching that end of the year point where I'm like, I'm not trying to put too much pressure. We'll see what all starts to pop off in the new year, but things are coming for sure. Of course, follow me over on Instagram if you're not already at Michaela McLean, where I share more practical insights each week. They're always pinned at the top of my feed, so that it's like, and kind of in the nature of 23, just keep the one that's current so that there's no confusion. It's like, hey, this is the oil, the crystal, the frequency, the tips for this week to work with. I think that's it. Until next time, of course, have a beautiful day.